Hey guys, you're watching the Best Practices Show, where we take a look at the best business practices from the best dental practices all across the country. And as you're looking to get better and improve your overall image in your patient's eyes, we have dentistry's image expert today, and we're going to talk about how you use video effectively in a great dental practice. So you don't want to miss this. It's Janice Hurley. So do me a favor, grab a pen and hit the share button. We'll see you in a second. Hey guys, welcome back to the Best Practices Show. And again, thank you so much for all the feedback we're getting. We're just getting a lot of great stuff, and we're enjoying this so much with all of the authority figures in dentistry, and a lot of things that we're getting requests on are how to use things effectively. And I've got dentistry's image expert today, Janice Hurley. And if you haven't seen Janice, you're gonna want to see this. She's fantastic. And before we introduce her, or I introduce her, I just want to have a couple show notes. We are shooting this live on Facebook. So as you're watching this, if you have questions, please add them to the feed, and I'll ask Janice directly, and we'll get you the answers that you guys are looking for, because I want to make sure you get the most out of this. And then secondly, we are loving the questions so much that every week we give away an Apple iWatch with 2 tickets to Activate, which is our practice growth seminar, for the best question asked on any post. So please keep asking great questions, and we're getting a ton of them. So please ask them. Now, my friend who is on today, you're going to see she keeps upping the game, and you're going to see this. Like every time I see her, I think I need Janice to just completely overhaul my image. And because image is so important now, video has been one of those things that's come on the scene in dentistry, and it's moving faster and faster and faster. And so a lot of the questions we get from great dental practices is, how do we use this? How do I use video? What are some of the keys? And so Janice is awesome at this, and we're going to have her help us today and give us some great insight. Now, if nobody's heard of you, Janice, who is Janice Hurley? Because I know who you are, but some people watching this might not know who you are.
Yes, I think we've known each other for years now, and we run in some of the same circles. And people are listening to your shows. I have to tell you a quick story. I recently spoke at a team training conference, and there were 4 young students up at the front. Young because they were in their late 20s, and they came to tell me that they had watched your interview with me and how much they enjoyed it. So the Best Practices Show is out there and everybody's watching. So I am considered dentistry's image expert because I speak on that aspect in our practice that affects our patients' experience with us at a better visual and emotional level. Then that's what I'm all about. So I'm excited about video. There's no way that a dental practice can avoid or ignore the impact of video today.
Yeah. And I don't know if you fell into this, like you've come onto the scene so fast as this expert who's really helped all of us see how we need to make things better. Did you fall into this? Was this, intentional, or did you just see a huge need in the marketplace and this is really your core talent? Interesting.
I thought that everybody saw the same things that I saw. So the makeovers was actually launched by Linda Miles, the guru, the diva of dentistry, right? I was at a Speakers Consulting Network conference sitting next to Catherine Eitel, who was one of your guests just recently.
Yes.
And it was the second day of this conference, and there was a periodontist in the front row, and he said, I've been coming to your classes, SCN, Linda, for 5 years, and I want to tell you that as much as I enjoy it, it's never really launched my speaking career. And for the first time ever, I heard Linda Miles not just soft-coded, and instead she looked at that dentist and said, well, if your image didn't look like you were stuck in the 70s, maybe somebody would hire you. And then she went to break. Catherine Eitel ran up to Linda and said, I'll tell you who can fix that and fix it right away is Janice Hurley. And Catherine talked about the fact that I'd been rooming with her for the last 5 or 6 years, and I would always redress her or give her some input or try these shoes or button this or do that. So Linda Miles gave me her credit card, and I took this doctor out and did a redo on him, and that was what launched the individual makeovers. So yeah, meeting planners used to ask me to speak on best practices, for the financial aspect of the business, but they also now ask me to speak on every element that has to do with image, which is verbal skills, body language, new patient interview, any of that. So I go in now individually to practices and do a 30-point assessment on their image. So I go in for a day and a half, and they have follow-up feedback. But you're right, I speak on this subject. Just got back from AACD. That was fabulous. And then there was Hinman. And then there was the Chicago Midwinter. Those are all really important, but I enjoy the venues very much.
Yeah, and you're so good at the feedback. You do it in such a good way that it's not offensive. I mentioned this in the last one. I asked you for feedback. You gave it to me, and I took action right away, and I got a lot of compliments. And I would have been stuck in my old patterns had you not given me new direction. So thank you. And I want to talk about this because the video thing is huge. You see people in dentistry doing video everywhere. Why is video more important now than ever?
Because we're honoring the way our patients receive information and then the way that they want to be communicated with. So reality is 79% of internet traffic by 2018 will be that content that comes through video. So no longer do we read a whole lot of text. Instead, on your landing page or on the very first page of your mobile website, there should be a video, because that's what is going to draw somebody in, and they'll be able to make a connection with you. You know how we say a photo is worth 1,000 words or picture's worth 1,000 words? Well, video is worth tens of thousands of words, because you get the visual, but then you're also getting the audio. And I more quickly connect with you and connect with your viewers because we're looking at video. And that is what we can't ignore in dentistry. So there's inexpensive ways to do it, and there's some that are more complicated, but we just can't ignore the use of video anymore. So 79% of internet traffic will be video content in 2018. That's it. That's what's happening.
Yeah, and I would agree. And having 4 kids and watching them communicate with the rest of the world, I would imagine the next generation of people coming up, it's going to be even more of a format of how they communicate. Just, in Snapchat, whatever you want to see, most of their communication, they don't text anymore. They don't even call. I asked my daughter, when was the last time you called anybody? She's like, Dad, we don't call people. We send people short little videos. So it's important in the next generation. And then also too, I heard this, and maybe you can add some perspective because I'm not really aware, but the second largest search engine in the world is YouTube. Is that still correct today?
It is, and it's growing. It's growing. And interestingly enough, internet marketing dollars for the first time ever exceeded the marketing dollars that we used to see on ads for Super Bowl or written ads. So it's now gone offline and online in terms of video between all of us. So yeah, it's growing. That's the way we want to receive information. And so to ignore that is being antiquated, right? We wouldn't do the old school way of the yellow pages anymore. Well, things have changed drastically in just the last 2 or 3 years, Kirk. So we want to keep up.
Yeah. So if I'm watching this, where do I start? Let's say I've never done a video before and I see the importance of this. Where would I start? And, what are some of the trends that you're seeing in dental practices all over the place?
I think the best place to start is to embrace it, right? So I live here in beautiful San Diego, and they say you can't stop the waves, but you could learn to surf. Or in my case, I could learn to boogie board. That's about the speed that I do.
Right.
But the first place would be to embrace it. And one of the easiest places to start with video is patient testimonials. So I've had some people in my audiences when I speak let me know that when a patient gives a compliment, they'll just take out that iPad or that iPhone, make sure to hold it horizontally, and because it'll play best in YouTube and on Facebook, and they'll get a quick testimonial from their patients. That's one way to do it. I prefer to actually set time and write it out on your marketing plan as to when you're going to do your patient testimonials, and let your patients know about this time and invite them. Because think about it, Kirk. Right after my dental experience, what have you just done in my mouth? You've put all kinds of instruments in my mouth. You've gotten me numb. You had me laying back. I'm going to have, bedhead here in the back, and I don't like that. And so instead, make a list of some of your patients that are the most enthusiastic, that look good in front of the camera, are charismatic. They don't have to have had the most dentistry done, but instead, invite them. And let them know, 3 or 4 weeks, if not longer, ahead of time. And instead of patients being uncomfortable about this, when you've chosen the right person, they're flattered. They're absolutely flattered. And so if I could, let me give your listeners a 5 steps that makes those patient testimonials so amazing. And the first one would be, of course, choose the right person. Choose somebody that doesn't mind being animated. And then you let them know that they're going to have an entrance statement. That means they want to write down a sentence that usually says, "Hi, I'm Janice Hurley. I'm Dr. Jeff Berger's patient. I've been a patient for the last 15 years, and I just love him," right? So you want an entrance statement. And then you want them to have thought of 3 points that make that practice special. I really enjoy Dr. Jeff because of his hygienist Robin, or I really enjoy the fact that I can't feel when he gets me numb at all. It's always comfortable the whole time. Or they have my favorite music, country western music, playing, as soon as I arrive with those great headsets. And so you want your patients to know those 3 pieces, and they've already written them down. And then you want to let them know that they want an exit statement. So they want an exit statement that gets them off the camera. So it might be something as simple as, "I recommend all my friends see Dr. Jeff." Or it might be something like, "I can't believe how comfortable I can be and how happy I am now to see the dentist with Dr. Jeff." So it's great if you end with the doctor's name. Let them know that it's only about 20 seconds long. 20 seconds. That's all people really want to listen. And the way I do it is, or train my clients to do it, is you show your patient that's going to do the testimonial, you show them another example of somebody else that did a good job on the testimonial. Yeah. And so that shows them how animated it should be. You go over their list, those 3 pieces, right? The 3 pieces that they said made this practice special. You read the entrance and the exit. And if there's any negative words in there, you can help them reword that and put in everything in a positive light. Then you let them know where to look on the iPad, hold it horizontal, and they do their first take. And you're just nodding, telling them, you're just nodding because you can't say anything during the time. And then you let them look at it and you say, "Good job, good job." And they will right away see if they need to be more animated, speak slower, smile more, do whatever it is. And they'll take a second chance, and then we might take a 3rd try. But I never do more than 3 tries. And I encourage them all along the way, telling them they did a good job.
Yeah. Now I know the answer to this question, but I want you to speak to it. A lot of times the dentist might say, "Well, that's easy for you to say, Janice, but can you come here and just help me through the first couple so I can get off the ground?" And are you able to facilitate that experience and just loosen the patient up a little bit? Because it can be a little awkward. And then also the second thing I want to ask you is, now when you're using the iPhones, the video is actually pretty good, right?
Very good.
Is there any sound considerations you should take in for mobile devices?
Good point. When I do this day and a half, when I travel to practices all over the United States, sometimes Canada, then we work on this together, and they make sure to schedule some patients, and I can show them, and we train the team. But one of the considerations to make is, of course, that they're in a room doesn't sound hollow, right? So I don't want to be in one of the treatment rooms. I want to stage the background such that they don't see any instruments. It looks very uncomplicated in the back. I might take the flowers that we had at the front desk, place them on the desk. So if you have a consultation room, that's a great place to videotape it. And I sent you a short video clip of a young girl, because children actually make amazing patient testimonials. That clip is no more than 15 seconds, but I set her up in the chair. I had used the outside lighting. Outside lighting is the best. And the lighting was on her face. And I had her leaning up against the chair, and I didn't have any plastic on the chair, and I showed her where the camera was on the iPhone, and she just smiled and had a great testimonial about Dr. David Hardy. So you control what the sound is like around you, which is another reason why it's better to schedule these, because you're not going to have the drill sounding in the room next door.
Right. And what you may not understand, I've heard this, is that if the audio is really bad, sometimes the viewer will throw the entire video out, even if it's really done very well. So what Janice is saying is spot on. And now, how would you do this on a Friday? I'm just trying to get a feel for the day.
Yeah.
Would you do it on a Friday and have all of these patients come in, start in the morning? Is that typically how you see it work best when you're doing the videos?
It should be part of your marketing plan. So allocate 2 hours every 6 months, and I don't bring them in on a Friday. I recognize that this makes money, and so it's giving back to the community by involving them oftentimes, and it's marked off. I let them know that they're going to be in there about 20 minutes, and when they arrive, they sign a consent form that says we can use the photos and the videos that we're going to be taking, and it takes no longer than 20 minutes. So I'll do a video, which again takes, remember, it's only a 20-second long video. Right. And then I will stage photos of the patient and the staff or the doctor interacting with the camera, of course, probably being on the warm, happy face of the patient. So no more than 2 hours every 6 months. And I don't have any more than 6 to 8 people max come in. That's efficient.
Okay, sounds good. And then as far as I've heard this too, you don't want to make any references to time during the video, because you don't want people to say, well, it's 2017, I came in here, because you want to be able to use these for a very long time. And then are there any other steps that you would recommend in creating great video?
I understand what you're saying. I want them to say if they've been a patient for the last 6 years. So that doesn't date it. I think the biggest mistake is not taking control of the background, of having the background way too busy. So look at you and I right now. We have nothing in the background, do we?
No, but your background looks way better.
Well, thank you.
I got to up my game now. I've got the most simple things, and every time I talk to you, yours looks better.
That's my goal.
This is what she does. Yes, I told her before she goes out, she ups the bar every time. So at least my shirt matches your background. So that's kind of cool.
We coordinated that. Yeah. But control the background. You want it to be as simple as possible, because you want the whole focus on the patient right there. So that was what I would say on that subject.
Yeah. Keep going, because I love this.
Thank you. There was a dentist in my audience from AACD who I just loved, because I showed his birthday video. So one of the other things to do, Solution Reach has this great example of a video where you've got the banner, happy birthday, you've got the cake, and you've got the balloons, and you don't see anybody, but back behind the counter is the doctor and the team. And sure enough, you hear they blow a little, gazoo, and the whole team jumps up and they say happy birthday, and this is sent in an email to their patients, and so it makes that patient feel very, very special. So there's nothing dated about that. You could use it for a full year. So lo and behold, the dentist that is in that video that Solution Reach was kind enough to let me use and promote, he was in my audience, and I said, what's the key on this? And he said, what I believe, have fun, have fun.
Yeah, it seems like the eyes tell the whole story in a great video, and you're so spot on. Now, once we shoot the video, is there anything we should consider as far as editing and then placement of the video? Are you putting them on YouTube? Do you put them in a particular video player? Like, what are some of the trends that you see?
Sure. One of the great things, if you're involved with Solution Reach and you are on the program that allows you to get optimal visualization with health grades, is that's the only place where you could actually post your video is on that health grades spot. And so I'm a brand new patient. If I can see a short testimonial, or I can see a short welcome, I'm going to put it up there on health grades. You want your own YouTube channel patients look at YouTube all the time. Like you said, you and I talked earlier, kids don't call each other. They don't really text. They look at YouTube. They exchange videos. And you can put them on all of a sudden I can't think of it. Facebook, right?
Right.
So I love Rita Zamora, and I just sent a couple of videos that I had taken when I was with a couple of my clients, and she and her team are going to post those on Facebook. So they're going to intermittently put informational photos or information about a team member or another patient, and then you want to interplace that video because then that's what makes it interesting. So your social media presence is going to be strongly affected by the use of video. And let me give you a couple other examples of video. And that's, take those short videos that are patient education. Take the time to let the patient know about the connection between their oral health and their systemic health. Let them know what the risk factors are if they've got diabetes. Let them better understand really what periodontal disease is. Give them some facts on the fact that about 85% of adults in the United States have periodontal disease. So do some short patient education videos. Again, absolutely no longer than 45 to 50 seconds on that. And then do videos that have the staff members talking about the benefits of that practice, like the fact that you have special headsets, that they have a comfort menu in their practice, and that all of these things are no charge. Talk about the same day dentistry that's done. So as a team in your staff meeting, make a list of patient education videos that you can make, and make a list of what makes your practice special. And it may take a couple times doing it, but you'll love the end results. Make them energetic, vivacious, and interesting, and short.
And short.
Really short.
Well, that was one of my questions, because if you're watching this, they don't have to be 5 minutes long. Because
please God, don't make them 5 minutes long. Nobody's going to look at them.
So the optimal time is 45 to 60 seconds long, you see?
Max. Otherwise, 20 seconds. Give me some fun and some information. That's different than what you and I are doing right now. Your listeners pop in and out of this conversation, and your listeners are here to have an education. What you're trying to do with your video in your marketing is connect to your existing patients and show enough of your personality and your brand to your potential patients, right? Don't bore them. Please don't bore them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, as far as, I do get this question a lot, so I'm just going to throw it to you too. On your homepage, is there one video that works best? Because you've mentioned quite a few. What's the video that you would place on a homepage on a dental website? I
would probably post the best patient testimonial. I would want somebody that just raved about you, because we still trust patient testimonials. And sometimes my doctors are not the most charismatic on videos. So some of the videos that I've seen used, where even when they're done professionally and the doctor talks about himself, that's not going to be, to me, as impactful as a testimonial from somebody vivacious that just loves you.
Right. So, and again, so let's say I listen to you, Janice, and I have you out and you help me and I get this first generation going. What would you suggest is the next step? Or let's say I want to get better at this. And what are some things that you would ask us to consider in bringing a professional in? Because this, when you see how much this works, you're going to want to invest more in this because it works like crazy. And you don't have to you don't have to blow up a massive budget. There are a lot of people out there that can bring in, and they're really good at this. They can do what you're talking about with the sound and put a story together, because patients do like to hear that story. So what would you consider after you get these first couple out? What would be the next step?
You're absolutely right. The next step would be to investigate a video team in your area. One of the ones that you can't do effectively on an iPhone is a patient tour. So you want professionals, but you have to guide those professionals, Kirk. You still have to make sure and tee up the rooms so they look spotless, and you have to help them understand that it's the smile on the patient's face, or it's the smile on the team member's face as you're staging that greeting. So that's where I would spend my marketing dollars on professionals. But I would absolutely look at the type of videos that they've produced before, I would let them know what my budget was ahead of time and ask them what they could give me for that. And again, keep it short, keep it short, keep it short. You write the general text of what you want to communicate that's special about your practice, and then you can do that accordingly. Let me give you one quick example of something done so well. Dr. Matt Cormelo in Greenville. I showed his videos these last 3 or 4 times when I spoke. And on his own, he did an interview with a patient under studio lighting and professional cameras, but that's also his area expertise. And because he's a master ceramist, he was able to show what those teeth looked like on the model. And in interviewing the patient, he could get that before and after look. And then he showed a short video of that same patient with their passion, which is to play the guitar. In less than 35 seconds, I, as a prospective new patient, would know that that dentist was far and above any other experience or any other dentist that I've ever been to, particularly if I was looking for beautiful, natural dentistry done. So, yeah, there's lots that we can do, but mostly I don't want people to not start because they're afraid. What would you do if you weren't afraid, right? You've got some vivacious, outgoing, energetic staff members. Start with them.
Yeah,
Doesn't have to be the doctor.
I think you're nailing home the most important point here is just getting started because, and this is a problem in dentistry, a lot of people, they want it to be perfect when you start. And I had one of the world's best video experts ever, Chris Savage from Wistia, came out to our company. He goes, "You guys are just making this too hard." He goes,
"It's too hard.
Start crappy.
Yeah.
You know, your first videos are going to be crappy, but your 10th one won't be, and your 50th one won't be. And he was right. You just got to get started and get rolling. Now, I think this is such a valuable topic too, Janice, because I didn't know what Zappos was, but Zappos boxes pop up at my house all the time. And I'm like, what's going on? Well, I didn't know this. Zappos has 10 video studios to shoot people wearing shoes. And I will catch my wife watching the videos of shoes. I'm like, you can't even see. She's like, well, I want to see how it looks from the side, because video positions yourself, just like you said, as an expert. Like we are the expert on this particular shoe. And so if you're looking for an edge in dentistry in the future, I think video's part of your plan, don't you think, in the future?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can't ignore that that's the way we're receiving information. Right. And you're not spending some of your marketing dollars on Yellow Page ads or some of the other places, but you need to have a line item for this and to do it. So thank you so much for letting me come on and talk about this. I want to see more and more of it all the time, and I want people not to be afraid.
Absolutely. And so I'm just going to ask, how can we get a hold of you? Let's say I'm struggling with this. Janice, you do a 30-point checklist where you'll come out and you'll help not just with video, but the whole image of the practice, right?
Yes.
Okay. How does that work?
Yeah. So the doctor and I talk about where they feel their strengths and their weaknesses are. I recently had a doctor book from Cincinnati who heard me speak at AACD, and he said, I know 85% of this I've got in place, but I've got about 20 team members, and I absolutely want the next 15% to be up there. So just yesterday, we chose a date, and it's a day and a half. So the first day I'm there, there's no patients. We spend 5 hours together in the morning, and we have lunch, and you see patients in the afternoon, and I get to see you impacting your patients and putting some of this into place. And then the next morning, half day again, I'm there with the team, and we figure this out, right? We've got action lists, we've got commitments as to what each of us is going to do. And then over the next 2 months, we have conference calls, something to hold you accountable. And the best way for people to reach me is to look up the website, Dentistry's Image Expert, or just Google my name, Janice Hurley. And those will come up. And love to hear from people, and glad to answer some questions. Yeah,
and we talked about this last time, and I think this is just a wise thing to do. Have Janice come once a year and just give you a head to toe. And I'll just say this isn't sexist. This is just an observation. Women are really good at style. Men, not so much. Some men are. I am not. Some men I coach, they are just blind to style. So if you know that you're not good at this and you have a blind spot called image, get help. Okay. So,
Okay.
And watch the other episode on the nose hair and the neck hair and all that kind of stuff. And that will kind of freak you out. Janice is an expert at making you look good for these people you serve. So I can't thank you enough. And we're going to do a lot of these. And so stick around for a little bit because I got another treat coming from Janice. We're going to jump from video to photography. So don't stay on the channel. We're going to say goodbye for now. But stick around. We're going to come back with photography. So, Janice, stay on for just a second. I want to just chat with you a little bit. You always look great. And for those of you watching, thank you so much for watching. We are so grateful and having so much fun. Until we see you next time, keep watching the Best Practices Show. Have a great day.